This is the plaintiff, Todd Mussini. He says he was driving home one afternoon when the defendant's dog jumped into the road. He hit his brakes hard as he could, but the dog was killed. The defendant was understandably distraught and he felt bad, but there was nothing he could do. Unfortunately, his front bumper was smashed. There was dog hair on it from the impact, and he's here today suing the defendant. For the $2,090.73, he's out. This is the defendant, Heather Wilhelm. She says her 11-pound dog, Cody, ran into the street on Christmas Eve and was killed by the plaintiff. The plaintiff's now suing her, but she found out he collected from his insurance already and is now trying to take advantage of her during this most traumatic time. The poor dog can't even rest in peace because of this nasty man, and he should be ashamed of himself. She's accused of not paying for damages. The defendant is filed a countersuit for $5,000 for the cost of her purebred dog, missed work, and pain and suffering.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Is it Muccini or Mussini?
Either one, Mussini or Muccini.
Which do you prefer? It's your name.
Muccini.
Muccini. Mr. Muccini, you are suing Ms. Wilhelm?
Yes.
For $2,090.73 that you say it's going to cost to repair a vehicle plus rental fees in order to do that. You are counterclaiming against him $5,000 for the cost of your dog as well as pain and suffering and harassment. Okay, let me hear from you, Mr. Muccini.
On December 24th, I was on my way home. It was about 4:30 p.m. at night. About a mile away from my house, a black dog leaped into the road from the opposite side. Unfortunately, I hit and killed the dog.
How old was the dog?
He was 10.
10. How did he get loose?
He was out in the yard playing with my son, and my son went inside to go to the bathroom, and the dog ran across the street, and he got hit.
Right.
And was killed instantly, I believe.
So what happens?
I stopped the vehicle. There was a person in front of me and in back of me. All three of us stopped. They saw the incident. There was a young girl that lived up the road a little bit. She came outside. It was very cold. She had no coat on. She's shivering. I said, "Whose dog is this?" She said, "It lives across the street." They were playing. She said, "They always play." Okay. I like dogs, animals. I've had some. I felt terrible. I went to my car to get my cell phone because I was going to call the police.
Okay.
And that's when they came across the street, put the phone down. I could tell it was her dog because she was in tears.
Right.
Totally understand that.
Right.
So the son picked the dog up. They went across the road. I apologized. I got back into my car, and one of the people stopped me and said, "I hate to tell you this, but your front bumper's all smashed." So I've got pictures of the bumper. I got those from the police. They took them. The car was 3 months old when this happened. I just purchased the car. Okay. So I drove my vehicle over to their house, knocked on the door. The son came to the door, and then the father came. I said, I hate to say this to you. I know I apologize for the incident. I said, but my car is smashed. I know it's going to be somewhere between
I might have waited a few days.
Well,
and because I know where they live, and I can do the same knocking on the door a few days from now rather than on Christmas Eve. But okay, go on.
I wanted to let them know there was damage to the car.
Why? Because their Christmas Eve hasn't been ruined enough, by the death of the dog.
Mine wasn't very happy either.
I'm sure you weren't, but it could wait. You know what I mean?
He started telling me, "Look, I don't know if this is from my animal or not." I left. So I left. I went home, called the men.
Well, I guess that's certainly a reason to tell him at the moment, so he can see it and know that you didn't make it up.
Correct. So I left and went home, called the men in police. They said, "Come back tomorrow on the 25th," which I did. Filled out the police report. They took the pictures, and I asked them, I said, "Is there a leash law in the town?" They said, "It's not a leash law, but everyone's supposed to be in control of their animal."
That's really what it means. You have to be in control of your animal because this is what happens.
Right. So I called my insurance company up. They came and looked at the vehicle. There was $1,597.26 of damage, and then there was $493.47 for the car rental.
Why so much for the car rental?
They couldn't get the parts. It's a brand new car.
Let me see the paperwork from them. That's what you actually paid?
Yes, for the car and the rental.
Talk to me. Who was there that day? Both of you? Come on up. Go ahead.
not really sure where to start. It was Christmas Eve. Like I said, my son was outside with Cody.
How old's your son?
He's 5. My husband.
Oh, God. It just gets worse and worse.
They were playing out in the yard. He went in to go to the bathroom. So I actually didn't see the accident. And when we came outside, we went up, my 21-year-old son and I went up to the top of the street. And I did not pick up Cody. My son did. So it was myself, my 5-year-old, my 11-year-old, my 21-year-old, and my husband were in the backyard digging a hole for Cody when the plaintiff pulled into the driveway. My husband went up to the car and he had stated that he was going to go to the police department. And my husband said, you know, you do what you need to do. I'm going to go take care of my family at this point. So,
Are you the husband?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever see the damage?
Never.
Well,
you didn't walk out. You
I never
just
saw
weren't
anything.
interested. Got it. Go
So
ahead.
we buried Cody and we went into the house. And about an hour later, the doorbell rang. And we were like, who could that be? And it was the plaintiff. So he came to the house a second time on Christmas Eve. And my husband asked him, you know, why are you here?
What do you mean an hour later?
He pulled into the driveway originally and told us he was going to the police department
Because of the damage.
because of the damage or
Okay.
because of the accident.
And then he came back after that?
He came back again an
To show
hour
them the
later.
damage.
He came up to the door. My husband answered it at that point. And he said, oh, you know, I need all of your information of your homeowner's insurance. And my husband said, well, you know, can we see the damage?
Right.
And the plaintiff at that point said, oh, I brought that car home. I don't have it.
Wait, you went back with a different car?
My brother was with me. I didn't want to drive. I wanted him to see the damage of the car, but I didn't want to drive the car, so I left it at home.
Right, but how many times are you going to knock on their door on Christmas Eve?
That was it. Twice.
Go ahead.
My husband asked to see the damage. He didn't have it. At that point, my husband asked him to leave our property. A couple of weeks later, I did receive a letter from his insurance company. So I called them and I had asked them if I could.
Can you hold on a second? Because I don't even understand the bills. You have one bill for $991.
That's for the car.
Right. Then you have another bill for $495 auto bond invoice. 1 3M film, 3M paint protection roadblock
That's a
system.
plastic film that I had put on the car originally. That's why the bumper wasn't shattered into pieces. There's on the plastic film that I put on my vehicles.
Can I see it in the pictures?
You can see it on the pictures.
Okay, yeah. So tell me what you're talking about there. I'm going to send it back and you show me what you're talking about. Show me there what it is that was an additional $500.
There's a plastic guard on the front bumper. So you have the bumper, then you have a piece of plastic wrap that goes on the bumper. That's why the thing didn't shatter. I mean, you can see a little piece of the plastic here, but in these pictures, I can understand. No, you can't see it here.
Okay. You said I could see a little piece of it. Can you point out where? And what's the purpose of it anyway? Because if you got to replace it anyhow, what difference does it make if it shatters or doesn't?
It's to keep rocks and bugs from pitting the paint.
All right. You were starting to say, and I'm sorry I interrupted you because I didn't understand the damages to begin with. But
I was saying that I received a letter from his insurance company a couple of weeks later demanding both our homeowner's insurance to pay $442. I called the insurance company.
Let me see that letter.
Absolutely. I actually received 2 of them
Yeah, let me
with
see
2
both.
different prices. So the first one that I received, I called the insurance company and I said, you know, I would like to see the damage. I have not yet seen the damage and you want me to pay for something. And they told me from privacy laws that I wasn't able to see the damage.
Well, that's just ridiculous.
So I said, well, in that case, I guess I'll see you in court.
Right.
I'm not paying $492 for something I hadn't seen. I then received a second letter from the insurance company. I then called and I was very upset and how do you go from $400 to $1,500? I don't understand. I can't see the damage. You won't show it to me. They don't really give you a lot of answers.
Right.
So at that point I said, well, I'm still not giving you my homeowner's insurance. I would rather pay out of my pocket at that point than put a claim in.
Right.
I didn't hear anything back from them. For
And here we are.
quite a while. No.
No?
No. I received a court order from the plaintiff to come to court. So
Right.
at that point, he was asking for $2,000. And I was like, how does it go from 14 to 2? So now I'm very upset. So I took it upon myself to call the insurance company from those paperwork. And the case was closed, and he was paid $1,098.62. So I really don't know why I'm coming to court, because he was
What's going on with
paid.
that?
So I have a $500 deductible, which I paid. So I'm out of pocket $500 plus court fees, whatever that, $100. So I'm out $600. My insurance company needs to be reimbursed. So all this would have been really easy if they just
Would
gave
never have
the
been easy.
homeowners.
It was never easy.
Right.
It was never easy for 1,000 reasons. It was never easy because it's never easy to lose a pet. It's not easy to lose a pet with children witnessing it. It's not easy to lose a pet on Christmas Eve. You know, people usually get incensed when they find out you killed my dog but you know, he didn't kill your dog. Your dog ran into his path that his car was going. And, you know, you said things in your answer to the complaint, like my dog can't even rest in peace. Your dog is resting in peace.
Well,
You're just getting sued for money because you guys, not the dog. The dog is a dog. The dog
Right.
did what dogs do.
Right.
It's that you're supposed to be supervising,
Right.
and you're supposed to be in control of your dog.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So is it wrong to go to somebody's door after your dog dies and say, your dog hit my car, I want money? Is that wrong?
Yeah, because it's a traumatic event, so they're probably like,
No doubt they are devastated. What do you think?
I don't think it is, because that dog, for the owners being negligent, that could have caused that guy to get in a car accident, could have ruined this car, and he deserves to get what his rights.
And no doubt he deserves it, but does he have, is the timing bad?
I don't think the timing is bad, because it happens all the time, and I think he has the right to get what he wants. So he does
When he wants it.
when he wants it.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
You know, the whole idea of the rental car bill does have me a little concerned. I'm going to cut that back. But everything else is kind of, it is what it is. So let's see what we got here. 16 days. I'm not going to order this. See, here's what your right is. Your right is to have them pay any reasonable damages that flow from the bad act. The bad act is the dog is loose and runs in there, causes an accident. But I'm going to order rental payments for 7 days, because looking at what I'm looking at, I don't see why it would take longer than 7 days. Which means that on your claim against them, it's the cost to repair the vehicle plus rental fees that I'm authorizing, which are $188.93. Now let's talk about your claim against him. You're suing him for $5,000 for the cost of your dog and pain, suffering, and harassment. I assume that was frustration on your part, because you do understand that he is not responsible for any of this, right? Okay.
I do.
Your counterclaim is you lose. All right? Verdict for the plaintiff, $1,786.66. That's my judgment.
Thank you.
All right, so here comes the defendant. This must have been difficult for you.
It was.
Yeah. How difficult was it?
It was Christmas Eve. My 3 children were crying their eyes out. The dog got loose. It was our fault. We understand that. But everything that he did leading up to today was a little sketchy. So,
What's the worst part of it? Was it what happened out there on the street, or was it the way he acted afterward?
well, obviously, the worst part was losing our beloved dog.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was 11 years old. He was our baby. So my children don't know life without him. So it's been a hard adjustment. But his actions after,
Could have made it a little gentler, right?
yes, it
On
feels
you?
like salt was poured
Yeah,
into our
okay.
wounds.
All right, head right around the corner this way. Let's see what he has to say about that. First of all, your feeling on the outcome of this case here?
You know, it's never a good outcome, because I like dogs and animals. I felt terrible about the accident, but again, if you own a dog or any type of animal, you have to be responsible for it.
What about your actions afterward, the stuff she objects to, the family stuff, the Christmas Eve and all that?
You know, I
Could you have
understand.
handled it differently?
You know, probably, but again, you know, unfortunately things happened. I thought it was the right thing to do, to let them know that there was damage to the vehicle.
All right, Harvey, tough situation.
You know, the bottom line here, Kurt, is that you have a legal duty to control your dog, and the result here is obviously right.